Well, in today's episode of Value in My Toy Collection, we're not actually going to value toys, we're going to value our Asian collection. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection, and then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Value in My Toy Collection and value some toys. Well, I'm actually going to take our Asian collection to the toy museum, so I want to add it to my collection total. First, we have this set of big 4 Asian dolls, and they're all connected, and you never see them this big. They're beautiful, and they're extremely rare to find like this, and this set's worth about $150. Next up, we have more of this Korean set of these 5 dolls, and I just bought this off eBay for $100. And then I had a set of pink ones that's also worth about $100. Have this really cool set of lightning bugs in a jar. They light up. They're worth about $15. And then we have this ceramic snail. It reminds me of my mother. She collected those ceramic snails when she was alive. So I'm keeping this one, and it's worth about $10. Next, we have this little Asian girl in a glass case, and she's worth about $12. She's got some age to her. And then we have this man and woman ceramic bust. They're worth about $20. Got this really pretty big peacock with a lot of beads and glitter. It's worth at least $12. And then we have this small little Asian girl reading a book worth about $8. She needs some touch-ups. Then we have this salt and pepper shaker. They're worth about $15. Then I have this long neck girl bust. I started to sell her, but I like her too much. She's worth about $30. And this little realistic girl in an Asian outfit worth about $15. Have these little plastic flowers in a square pot. They're worth about $12. And then we've got this tall doll in a green dress worth about $15. Well, I like this little square vase so much with the yellow flowers, but I'm keeping it. It's worth about $6. I have this Asian figure. She reminds me of a teacher. She's worth about $12. And then this small cloth doll that's worth about $8. And then we have this 3D doll photo in a frame, like a shadow box frame, and she's worth about $25. And then behind the little cloth doll, we have these two full-length figures, and they're worth about $25. Have this little guy sitting on the shelf. He's worth about $15. He's one piece. And then I've got a set of these vintage grapes that's actually a lamp that hangs up, and it's worth at least $100. I love these. I can't wait to hang that up. I've got this tall vase with this little dragon puppet on the top, and it's worth about $25. And it's got a tassel on it as well. And then we've got one dragon puppet hanging from our ceiling that we'll take to the toy museum, and it's worth about $20. We've got these little ceramic guys that are carrying water. The big one's worth $20, and the medium one's worth about $15. And then we have this zodiac sign saucer worth $15. Got a couple cool Asian necklaces that have rhinestones. They're kind of like Betsy Johnson knockoffs, but they're worth about $10 each. And then we have this big spiral ceramic pink point. I don't know what it is, but I'm keeping it. It's worth about $15. And we've got these plastic flowers and this green planter, probably from the 60s, and they're probably worth about $15. I love the 60s and 70s plastic flowers. We have a cluster of rocks that are worth about $12. Those are super cool. And then we have 2 sets of these lucite grapes, one in gold and one in blue, and they're worth about $25 each. We've got some old vintage Asian jewelry boxes. This large one is worth about $25. And then we have this one. This is very 60s, maybe 70s, but I think it's 60s. It's real flat. It's got roses on the inside, but it's worth about $15. Have another Asian one with these little drawers with tassels on them. It's worth about $15. And then we have some more of those plastic flowers I like. This one's in a little brass bowl worth about $15. And we've got one more jewelry box. This one's long with a mirror on the top, and it's worth about $15. It's really cool though. The inside of those drawers has that like a golden alligator texture. It's really cool. All right, we've got these little great boxes that hold matches. These are very 60s and 70s here, probably 60s. And these are worth about $12 each. So that's $24 for the set we can add to our overall grand total at the end. Got these little fans with these Asian girls on them. They're super cute and they're worth about $3 each. We have 6 of those. So that's about another $18 we can add to our overall grand total. And then we have a peacock fan that's got a wooden base, and the peacock's made of paper, worth about $6. Maybe a little bit more than that, but we'll say about $6. And then we have a little Asian girl ornament. She's worth about at least $6. We have a little ceramic dragon worth about $12. And this really cool marble square box. It's worth about $15. I actually got that from Pier 1 when I worked there in my 20s. I've kept it that long. Vintage handmade paper card in a frame worth about $5. This little kid face cartoon pink doll worth about $10. Had her a long time. This really nice doll in the box. This came from Japan or China, worth about $30. And then we have one out of the box that's worth about $20. And then we have these 2 Asian ladies that are beautiful. They're really big and they're worth at least $15 each. So that's $30 more to add to our total. This small plate we've had forever. It's valued at about $12. And these little figures, they're worth about $10 each. And we have 3 of those. Then we have these little Asian orchids. We have 3 of these. And I'd say they're worth at least $3 each. They're pretty cool. I've had them a long time. And then we've got this doll back here on the stand that's worth probably at least $12, maybe $15, but we'll say $12. And we have this small one. This kind of looks like a tourist doll from some country. I'm not sure which country it came from, worth about $6. Have this big Chinese golden pig bank worth about $8. And this little framed picture on a gold stand worth about $20. Got a little plush sushi that's worth about $12. And then we have these pictures that we had on the wall. They're beautiful pictures. They're Asian inspired. We have 4 of these and they're worth at least $15 each. So that's $60 more we can add to our total. We've got these little vintage Asian ladies with different scenes. This big one is worth probably about $20. And then we have 3 small ones, I'd say worth at least $12 each. So that's another $36. Last one's a little cork sculpture in a box, worth about $15. Then we have these 2 eggs on the stand. They're worth about $25 for the set. And then we have a couple more loose dolls. I'd say they're worth at least $5 each. They're cute. I don't know where they came from, but they're not super expensive. Marble box I got from my days at Pier 1, worth about $15. This little birdhouse with the blue bottom and top is worth $50. It blew my mind. And this little wire one someone made is probably worth about $10. You just never know what's going to be worth a lot. I never would have guessed that little blue bird house or bird cage would be worth $50. And this little black head sculpture is worth about $10. This little Asian set of grandparents, they're worth about $6 with their little blue bird. And this church birdhouse is worth at least $6. I love that. I've had that so long. I was going to sell it, but I'm keeping it. We went to a flea market in Tennessee where a lady was doing Chinese calligraphy with your name. This actually means Christopher, my name. And I'd say it's worth about $5 since it's so specific. But I think we paid about $20, $25 for that. All right, got this little brown vase with glass flowers worth about $7. And this little resin figure of an Asian girl worth about $5. And then we've got these 2 big dolls in this big glass case. I think they're worth about $50 in this condition. Pretty cool. One of my friends actually gave this to me. Tara gave that to me, and it's very nice. I would never get rid of it. All right, let's see what else we have. This is so cool. I don't know what these are. I call them pumpkin flowers, but I'd say they're worth about $10. But they're very Chinese Asian looking to me. I love them. Got a little set of tassels here, probably $3, $3 and $1. It'd be about $7 for that set. I have a little vintage coaster worth about $5. And this little dangler that one of my friends brought me back from a trip is worth about $4. It's got little Asian girls on it, one with an umbrella. We've got this set of coasters that's very vintage. It's worth about $10. They're kind of stuck together. I'm going to have to work to get those out. We've got a little solar-powered Buddha that's worth about $12, and a Geisha Girl solar-powered worth about $15, and another Buddha back there worth about $10. Then we've got these little heavy figures. They're called Momiji dolls. I think that's right. They're worth $15 each, and the wooden ones in the back are worth about $10 for the set. We've got this little Asian doll. She's small, probably worth about $4. And this one that looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid's worth about $15. And then this realistic one's worth about $25. And then this one in the pink dress came directly from China from a mail order, worth about $10. Then we've got these two big dolls. They're beige and white, and I think they're worth at least $25 each. It's two origami-inspired little birds. They're like resin. They're worth about $12. And got this man and woman doll in a little case worth about $15. Then we have this vintage screen, probably from the 60s. It's really nice, but worth about $20. Probably put that in the background with some Asian stuff in front of it in the toy museum. Got these little napkin rings. They're pretty cool. There's 4 of those. They're worth about $8. And then we have that fan that's a lamp. It's worth about $25. That is so cool. Then we've got some more loose dolls. You know, it's really hard to appraise dolls like this, but I'm just going to appraise these as about $6 each. They're probably worth a lot more than that. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So that's $30. And then this set of twins right here, they're worth about $25. Little dog's called Ni Hao Kai Lan. She's worth about $30, and then the plush version is worth about $10. I hope I pronounced that right, but it says she's from Fisher Price. Next up, we have a sumo wrestler. He's worth about $12, and behind him from 2004, we have a dancing sumo in the box worth $20. This big box of these little Asian dolls is worth about $20 since they are still in the box. And then we have some little ornaments back here worth about $1 each. And then here's some of those dolls out of the box. I think they're worth about $2 each out of the box. We have some vintage Asian erasers worth about $3. And then a bigger one of those dolls that's coming up next that's worth about $3. And then these loose little dolls here that need some love, they're probably worth about $1 each. Then we've got this cool 3D giant picture we got at a Chinese restaurant one time, worth about $35. And then we've got these beautiful hand-carved shell pictures. These are very vintage and they're in excellent condition. And on eBay, one of them was selling for over $100. So I figure a set, we'll say it's worth at least $150. They're beautiful. And everybody's favorite, we have my helper Daisy watching me film everything today. We've got a couple smaller pictures, just like those bigger ones, where it's hand-carved shells. They're just really detailed and just a piece of art. And I'd say this one's worth at least $50. And then we have one more that's also worth about $50. And I can't remember where I got these. I either got these at a garage sale, an estate sale, or a flea market. But I must not have paid much for them. All right, next we've got these giant decorative tassels. And I think these were gifts when we went to like Chinatown. But we have that one and we have this one. And I think the first one's worth about $15 and this one's worth about $10. We've got some cool origami vases. I think this is worth at least $20. Somebody put a lot of work into this. And then we have one that's a goose. One of his eyes came off, but that's what he looks like with an eye. He's worth about $20 with the vintage greenery. And then this one's also worth about $20. Got these large resin Asian girls. I can't talk. They're worth about $20 each. And then this Bradley doll that's Asian inspired is worth about $25. And then we've got a couple of more of those really nice Asian dolls. And I think these are worth at least $20 each. And then we have some more of the loose ones. And all these loose ones are probably worth about $10 each. They're kind of nicer. So that's about $30. And this one at the end, that's a man and a woman together. They're worth about $25. Then down here we have this big bust. She looks more like she's from Thailand to me for some reason. But she's worth about $35. And then we have this waste basket or basket. It's worth about $20. I got that at an estate sale. I remember that. And then we've got these two big tassels. They're worth about $3 each. And then all these small tassels, we have 4 of those. They're worth at least $1 each. We got some doll clothes. We got this little kimono set that's worth about $5. And then we've got these 2 Korean outfits. And these are worth, I paid $14 each for them, but I'd say they're worth at least $10 each now. So probably another $20. Little Chinese takeout box lamp worth about $20. Our dragonfly lamp's worth about $30. And this bottle, someone stuffed a bunch of lights in, is worth about $8. And then we've got these dolls that were made in Vietnam, and they're about 16 inches each. And I think they're called Chan Hung dolls. And we have 6 of these, and they're worth about $20 each. So that's about $120 worth of these. I think these are very awesome. I bet a lot of people brought these home as souvenirs. And then at the end, we have 2 miscellaneous dolls. I don't know if they're Asian or not, but I figure they're worth about $12 each. Well, with our previous 410 videos of value on my toy collection, our collection was worth $1,018,455. I was so excited when it finally reached that $1 million point. Now, when we add this video of all of our Asian collectibles, we can add another $2,935 to our overall grand total. So that means for episode 411 of Value in My Toy Collection, our overall grand total now is $1,021,390. I'm so excited. I always wanted to say I have a $1 million toy collection, and now I can, but I'm really not a millionaire. I'm like a toyonaire, and I've just been picking up all this stuff, going to garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, going to toy stores, and looking online, and it's just accumulated to that big old total. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am making them. I like to see what all I have and what it's actually worth. And it's just been on shelves for years collecting dust. So it's kind of fun packing it up to take it to the toy museum. I'm putting all the toys online on our Facebook page, which is called the Toy Vault of Mississippi. So definitely check that out. And if you like our channel, please subscribe. It certainly helps us grow. So until our next video, guys, we will see you then.